Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Shake Sales. Today I got Alex Berman from Galdion. Super excited to talk to Alex. Alex has been in the cold email game and really just immersed in anything outbound sales for the last, decade plus now. And you've probably done it all. So, Alex, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, before this, we were talking about how cold email is changing. And in order to be successful, you probably have to do maybe a different approach or, things have changed. So let's talk about first, what is changing?
The main thing that's changing right now is there is a deliverability crisis going on. And we've gone through several phases now of this deliverability crisis, right? It started out in the old days, everyone would send small amounts of cold emails. They'd send it with just a few. So they would send just a few small amounts of cold emails out, 40, 50 per inbox, maybe not even that much per day. And things were okay. But then people started pushing higher and higher volumes of sending. And so that's led to all of the people that are processing emails to crack down harder and harder. It started with everyone had switched to a platform called Zoho to send cold emails. And so Zoho was having a lot of sending. Then Zoho actually banned cold email. Then everyone switched back to Google for sending cold emails. Then Google started cracking down. Then everyone switched to Outlook. And what's happening right now is there is a lot of deliverability issues happening with Outlook. So that's the main thing when it talks about, when you talk about cold emails and how they're changing now. There's a lot more people using inbox rotation, and there's a lot more people using massive sends to the point where spamming is the new tactic for cold email. And that's something that has not happened in the entire history of cold email as far as I have seen. It used to be sending small amounts of personalized targeted cold emails. That was what everyone was saying to do. Now everyone's pushing towards spamming, and it's breaking the entire system as far as I can see.
Yeah, it's kind of ruining it for everybody, right? High volume, low quality. When I say low quality, I think it could be the best email in the world and best offer, but if you're not filtering the lead list, you're just going out there. It's almost like you're treating this as a marketing campaign versus a targeted sales campaign.
Yeah, and the tools aren't helping. I was railing against ZoomInfo maybe even like 5-6 years ago because the databases aren't refreshed enough. But tools like Apollo make it even worse because they're now telling people that the emails are verified when if you send to those emails, they'll bounce. So now people are going to Apollo or similar tools. I'm not just hating on Apollo, but similar tools like that, the unlimited databases. They're downloading large amounts of untargeted leads, being sold on the lie that they're targeted and that they won't bounce, not passing them through any sort of other verification software and sending. And then it's not just ruining their domains. Like you're saying, it's ruining cold email as a channel.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's painful, as a owner of a tool that allows you to send cold email. We want to enable people to do what they want to do, but also really be on the line of success, right? Like, and I've always believed, we added email rotation. We were holding off on that because we're like, look, this isn't going to contribute positively to you, but what's happening, like as you mentioned, is like the volume of what you can send per email address has just gone so low, and or like your spam rate goes up so fast, and the recovery of that email might just be kill it and move on. And again, it's like this, everyone's contributing to it. But we're in a situation where things are changing. So I guess so yes, it sucks. Lots of things are happening. So 2 questions. One is, does that approach work? Like, can I go get a list from whatever and go send a bunch of emails, like non-targeted? Does it work right now?
Okay. It kind of works. The thing that we found, so we've been booking meetings. Like I think we added almost 100K to our pipeline yesterday from cold email. So it still works this way very, very well. But what I've found works is it's a high volume solution, but you need to build your lead lists manually. And by manually, I mean you can use AI agents or you can use something else to build your lead list together, but we're definitely not pulling from a database. We're definitely not pulling from a database. So what I've been using is AI agents using Clay to go out and actually manually verify all the information. So it will find, let's say I'm trying to find you. I'm trying to find Sujan Patel. So first I'll find Mailshake, and then I will go to Google. The AI agent will go to Google and type in like CEO Mailshake or Director of Marketing Mailshake, or even one level deep, Director of Marketing Mailshake LinkedIn profile. Then it will pull that LinkedIn account, and then from there, it'll feed it into our waterfall of verification software. So I know you run a verification software. What I've been doing now is running it through an entire waterfall. So we'll send it to Find Email, we'll send it to Data GMA, we'll send it to whatever the other one that ZoomInfo run, Never Bounce, and it'll basically verify through all of those guys and come up with what is the final email address that is going to work, and then that one's being sent. But then we're also using AI to make sure that the email campaigns themselves are unique. So, of course, like our target market and our case studies and all that stuff, that's not spin taxed. That's not changed. But the first couple sentences of the email are now 100% AI written. So what I've been doing now is, there was the old one where you're just coming in with a compliment, like, "Hey, Sujan, just saw the interview you did with Alex on your podcast and loved it." But then I've been doing some other ones like, like, "Hey, Sujan, noticed that your competitor, blah, 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 is doing this thing and you're probably worried about this." And that's all stuff that AI can do now. So it's a multi-step AI process to just make sure that these emails are unbelievably relevant, like to the point where I will go through and I'll be like, find the top 3 competitors to this company. And then based on those top 3 competitors, we can infer the biggest fear of the person. I've also gone through and told a personal story from my childhood about their product. Like for a lot of e-commerce stuff, this works. Like, "Hey, I noticed you sell, sporting goods. When I was a kid, sports really inspired me to do X, Y, Z. And that's why, I love your kind of company." So basically we're using AI, just using GPT, or now you can use Galadon API to do the same. But just using AI to write emails that are more targeted, and also more unique. That way you don't have to worry about spin text, and you can get that one-to-one feeling. But yeah, 100%. You actually, it's very hard to hit numbers without sending what would have been considered massive volume in the day. But I mean, I know for Galadon we're ramping towards 140,000 cold emails a month. And when I started, I was sending 40 cold emails a week. So that's like the difference of how it's changed in the last 10 years.
Yeah, but I bet that 40 would result into maybe 5 or 7 meetings, right? Or like 5 to 7 responses at the very least. The success rate's lower, right? These days, or
the success rate is a lot lower. And I've found that, but I've also found that the success rate of, unless you're going to write an email completely manual, the success rate's lower in general if you're using scripts and templates. But I don't know how the maybe you'll be able to answer this too, but I don't know how the process works. But like, anytime I want to send a one-to-one email to somebody, I can send it and I can get 100% response rate from them. But it seems like anytime I use a template, then it drops.
Yeah, and the reason for templates not being as effective anymore, they still work in certain situations, is that there's 2 parts to the email spam and deliverability. There's the sending, so you and your email provider sending an email, and then there's the email provider receiving it. In a lot of cases, it's the same, like Google to Google, and both ends are trying to stop spam, right? And fraud. Really, it's more fraud. So, what you don't know in the background is there's more fraud than spam, right? So fraud is like someone maliciously trying to inject, malware or steal your social security information, try to get you to change your address or login information, stuff like that, right? So like there's more cybersecurity issues. That spam is going along for the ride. Anyways, long story short is you're getting hit. You usually haven't gotten hit in the past on templates on the sending side. Before, it used to be on the receiving side. You're getting hit on the sending side. So if an email copy has been sent enough times, it's usually on the like watch list. Now you add that with like, you're sending this email like a gazillion times and your new email address, boom, you're probably not even going to get past the sending side, let alone the receiving. So anyways, I think like the cool thing is there's AI, you can do AI driven templates where you're really personalizing the very front of that email. Again, it's personalized, like you mentioned, like it's relevant, very relevant to the recipient, but you can use the same approach at scale, right? Find three competitors, figure out like identify pain point. Yeah, hey, your competitors are doing this, you're not. And you could even just say like, why aren't you investing in AI? Your three top, this, that, the other competitor is way better. It doesn't even have to be like super specific. Anyways, long story short, I love the approach that you're taking where you're actually getting the data yourself. And I want to make sure, I want to echo this message. I run Norbert, which is a data provider, right? And what you don't know is on the back end, I can't say who works with us, but we've got probably 75% of the major data providers that we power one part of their verification for. And I could tell you from that experience, the data is not refreshed or verified fast enough. So data gets stale typically after 30 days. And it just keeps getting worse over time. What I mean by data gets stale is like you might change, most people would change a job or whatever, right? Now, if you're trying to go after 50,000 people that are heads of sales at SaaS companies, chances are 3,000 of them have moved. 1,000 are no longer there, right? Like that's just statistically whatever. And so now all of a sudden you have a 15% spam, bounce rate off the bat. Now bounce rate is the highest indicator of you are spamming people, right? So high bounce rate means low deliverability. And so, if you don't refresh the verification of that email often enough, it's not going to go through. And I love your approach of like, not just verifying with one provider, verifying with multiple providers. Like, we've tested our data at Mailshake through like 5 or 6 different verification. And it's all like, okay, even Norbert, we do it once through there. Okay. It says like the 85% of those will pass another one. So if you do it through like 3 places, your chances are you're going to get low bounce. But I think that's the right move. And you can't trust providers, or if you trust them, double pay, quadruple pay to get it verified.
Yeah, and it's an email verification waterfall, like you said. So you pick whichever one is the cheapest / most effective, and you do that one first. They'll catch 70% of them, and then you use the more advanced verifications with the higher prices to just catch whatever stragglers are there. And then to your point of people changing jobs, that's why we have AI agents to check Google, basically, because I found Google and LinkedIn are the best version of this. And searching via Google instead of LinkedIn helps you get around any sort of issues with breaking TOS, scraping LinkedIn, or anything like that. So it's actually all it's all above board. It's the same as if you'd have your VA do a Google search.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like how we build at Mailshake and what we do, our sales team doing cold email and outbound for ourselves, we use a combination of VAs, AI, scraping, and verification across multiple platforms, right? But here's the thing, and Clay to kind of stitch a lot of this automation together, and then it just goes into a Mailshake campaign once it's been through this process. But here's the thing, that cost for data is still cheaper than ZoomInfo, like than a like unverified contact information from ZoomInfo. So it's kind of funny that it's going that way. Just build it yourself. But,
it's still cheaper than ZoomInfo and everything. But what we had to do for the next level is, build it internally. So having it on Clay and going through the OpenAI API and all that was cool, but we were still looking at like a 8 or 9 cent cost per lead, especially with all the verification and everything. So we built our own LLM. We actually just have a server running in Delhi that's running the AI agents.
Nice.
Because it makes more sense to do it like that. And that way our leads are almost free. We're just paying for data verification now at that point, which using the waterfall, it ends up being pretty cheap.
Nice. Awesome. So yeah, thanks for walking us through the process. What I heard is really what you're doing is effectively the same thing, a different, a more intelligent, optimized way by not relying on too easy clicks. I think, what's really in cold email is like you just go to a database and then you use a template and you click send without ever figuring out what the heck your business offer is, right? Like, one of the biggest churn reasons at Mailshake, we've been around for 9 years now, is cold email didn't work. And when we dig into that, I've interviewed like 100+ customers that have left, and they're like, not the ones that are like, oh, deliverability or any of that. It's like, they really didn't figure out their offering. So, figure that out first, right? Like go test what is the thing that you're going to sell for what price and what is the way to sell it, and then scale it, because can't scale without that part first.
Bro, and people hate this when I tell them this, but the easiest way to test your offer is to just go to an event where your target audience is and just talk to as many people as possible and literally try to book a meeting with them. And you'll see all of the BS. By the time you get out of your SaaSter or your social media world or whatever, you'll have everything nailed down and you'll be ready to go.
Love it. Love it. And that's a great trip. And if you're introverted like me, and you hate talking to people and that's kind of challenging, go run ads, like Facebook ads on what your offer is and see if that works, right? So you can't get people to click on an ad to book a demo with you. Maybe you should change the offering to download some content or something like that. Anyways.
Exactly. And I'm an introvert too. I hate it as well, but like, bro, I'd rather not spend 10, 20K on Facebook ads when you could just force yourself to go to an event and do it. But yeah, either one works. That's been the fastest one for me. The other one I'd recommend is cold calling, but people that won't go to events really hate cold calling.
I like cold calling more than I like in-person conferences. It's more of like
I've made so much money just going to events because you can book like 50, even 100 meetings over the course of a couple days.
And you do it like people don't do this, right? Like they do this. Anyway, we need to get you back on for that conversation. But Alex, thanks so much for joining. Where could people go to follow along, and also tell us where they can sign up for Galadon?
Sure. I think the easiest place is to go to alexberman.com. That's got links to everything. And then you can go to galadon.com if you want to sign up for a demo of our AI or sales enablement.
Love it. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks for having me.